I'm back with more Virtua Pro player mode, and in preparing for this 6th season, I made heavy use of the shuffle button to try and get myself some opponents that I haven't faced before in the series. This is what I ended up with: West Ham, Everton, Fulham, Bordeaux in Europe, and Bulgaria in the Nationals. Our opponents may be different, but the flow of the season remains the same. I start, as always, with relation training, and 5 out of 5, 44,000 points. That might be a new points record for me. Not sure about that, but what I am sure about is that this is going to be the last season of the series, because if you didn't see in the game manual, this is the game's way of letting you know that, hey, your career is almost over. Get your affairs in order while you can, because your player's knee is giving out. We've still got the rest of this season in us though, and since we stayed at Liverpool, we're getting offered the captaincy role much like we did from the 2nd season onwards at PSV. We accept it, and the motivation boost lets us go straight back into relation training. I messed this up at first, but pull myself together and get enough points to earn the maximum rewards. As for regular training, I'm doing power for a while until I reach contact strength 60, and then I'll switch it up. We get one more event here in August, a tactical training session with the manager. Every little bit helps, and now it is time for the first game of the season. We've got West Ham, and we start with the game 2 apiece, but with them down a man. This, however, is a very awkward situation where the game puts half of our players down the wrong end of the pitch, and all I can do is try to back pass until they get into position, and oftentimes this results in me losing the ball. However, now, just a few minutes later, Binns has the ball running. Some mistimed slide gives him more space, and he puts it away! Gary Binns with a potential game winner, and if you're wondering why you heard Alan Green in the background for a moment there, it's because I was using a different system file for this last season for reasons that will become apparent at the end of the playthrough, but the commentator had not been muted on that system file, so I have now done so. As time is winding down, we're just trying to hold on, or maybe we can score another goal. But either way, as long as we hold on to this score, we win the game, and that's exactly what's going to happen. A very good result for us against West Ham, especially with how little time I was actually given to influence this result. The winner wasn't enough for man of the match, but we still get mentioned as having put in a good performance. Now it's time to give our gift to Sarah, the expensive ring, and I thought there might have been some unique dialogue, because usually, you know, if you're giving a ring to a girl, it's a marriage proposal, but no, it's not in this game. It is nonetheless a large increase to her happiness, and now it's time for another minigame, speed training. You know the drill by now. I can never quite get more than 3, and in fact this time I only get 2. I was taking a risk by doing this skill game instead of a rest week when I only had 70 condition, but it is all going to work out for me because of extra motivational boosts. Some of them I expected, like the October pep talk, others that were random, such as the fans becoming parasocial again. These latter 2 events were actually overkill, though in the case of the manager pulling us aside for some extra training, that is also much welcomed, as I was going to have to rest at this point. So I take that rest, and that loops us right back around to the speed minigame. A recurring trend in this season is that I really couldn't find a consistent way to score here, and in this case I only go 1 out of 5. The good news is that the following week I now have 60 contact strength, which still isn't great, but it's hard to boost contact strength as a forward. I can now move on to attack, as I would also like to get 90 in dribble skill and shot skill, and any passing boosts would also be nice. Here's another event I get to do more defending training, but more importantly that maxes out my motivation in time to get one more minigame in before the next match. And speaking of, this was a new event regarding the next match program, but Due to my unfamiliarity with it, I accidentally lowered my ego at a time where I didn't necessarily want to. But, oh well, skill minigame, because I want to boost my place kicking skill to 67 and maybe get a bit more shot technique. I go 3 for 4 here, and with that, it's time for our European clash against Bordeaux. We've never been eliminated in the first round of the European League throughout this playthrough, but it looks like this might be the time as the game has come to collect on its luck debt. We are starting 2 goals down. I have overturned this deficit once in the playthrough, and I have to play it out to try and replicate that performance. So we have a throw in after Bordeaux cleared the prior attack off screen. Gerrard's running down the wing, have to just whip it in the box and hope. Gary Benz, for the second time in 2 games that we've played, has scored, and now we have a real opportunity here. And our onslaught continues. We're now going down the opposite wing, crossing the ball again. This time Benz is not going to get it. Mr. Head Play not living up to his reputation. Still got a decent amount of time left. Here I'm trying to work the ball around, trying to wait for an opportune time to cross, and Arne was about to score a worlder, but Reim plucks it out of the air in time. Now the good news is that Bordeaux hasn't done much to try to extend the lead, but with time running down, we're running out of chances. Yet another cross that Bordeaux beats us to. Carragher's going to try and shoot from long range here, but he's not the man to do that, and in any case, it was blocked. It looks like this game is going to end 2-1 in their favour, and it has. We are out of the European League early. There are some silver linings here. We get to meet up with our fans post-game, and after this, the manager says that we actually put in a good performance. We were responsible for halving the deficit at least, but it still sucks that we're only going to get to play 4 club games this season. Our motivation is maxed out again, and also with this charity event, we're going to be in negative ego, which isn't entirely a bad thing because some of the boosts we get include long pass and supportiveness. Doing the skill minigame one more time, and this is going to be another 3 out of 4 performance, with the last attempt being the one I miss. The plan from here was to train through to the Christmas break, but this extra training session with Rayner puts my condition at 40, which is way too low to risk training, so I just rest on week 3. It doesn't make a huge difference though, since there's no auto training in week 4, and now that we're in the winter break, I'm going to try and boost my ego so that it's positive again by February. I'll start with an outing with Audrey, because if I go with Sarah on Christmas, I'll get the gift event again, but that won't boost my ego. And in January week 1, I get another chance to change my agent, but it really doesn't matter at this point because I'm not going to get another chance to change clubs. Now it's time for me to go out with Sarah twice, going to places that she likes as usual, and I get plus 20 each time, and that puts my ego back where I want it to be in time for January week 3. Surprisingly, I got no random events after any of those 3 outings, so just like that, it's straight back into the training, and I went back to power for a bit because I really wanted that place kick skill pop, but now that I've got it here, I can go back to attack, and after week 4, I get another chance to train physicals with the manager, and also an outing with a teammate for a meal. This is nothing we haven't seen before, but what is slightly different at this point is that we aren't quite considered top of the league yet, so this pep talk only gets us 10 ego instead of 20. But I want to be getting 20 from the pep talk, so I'm going to go back to relation training, and nothing out of the ordinary here. It was a bit of a sloppy attempt by my standards, but as we've established, 3 out of 5 is still enough if you've got enough points. From here, I continue with the strategy of doing extra training in attack until the end of the month, and in the last couple of seasons I've included the March game in the first half of the season episode, but considering we're already out of Europe, I'm actually going to cut the episode here since we only have the 2 league games to go for the club and between 1 and 3 games for the national team. So, can we win the league title again? And can we succeed on our one shot of becoming world champions? Find out on the last episode of Virtua Pro Football.